What's up, my friends? Welcome back to the channel, and on today's video, well, I got a good one for you today. Because not only am I reviewing the newest version of a wildly popular Adidas shoe, it is also, in my opinion of course, the very best version that Adidas has ever made. Guys, this is my review of the Ultraboost 5X. Let's get into it. All right, let's get started with those disclosures. This video is in collaboration with my friends over at Roadrunner Sports. Now, the Ultraboost 5X was sent to me for the purpose of review. However, no one at Roadrunner Sports has told me what to say. They don't have any editorial privileges, and all the thoughts and opinions are my own. With that said, you're going to be able to pick up a pair of the Ultraboost 5X from Roadrunner Sports for $180. And of course, I'll place links in the show notes below in case you want to pick up a pair for yourself. Okay, before we get into the Ultraboost 5X, you should know that Adidas has released two versions. We have the Ultraboost 5, which I don't have, and the Ultraboost 5X. Now, ultimately, the only difference between the 5 and the 5X is that the 5 has that exterior cage. If you've ever run in an Ultraboost before now, you'll know what that cage is. But if not, I do have the Ultraboost Lite right here. See this? We have this external cage that you can probably see I can stick my finger in and get between the upper and the actual cage. Now, the external cage was just to provide a little structure to the upper and give you a good midfoot lockdown. But there are other ways to get that midfoot lockdown, and it adds a lot of weight to the shoe. So, in order to stay with tradition, Adidas has the Ultraboost 5, which has that traditional cage on the outside, and then we have a little streamlined 5X. And the Ultraboost 5X actually weighs 17 grams less than the Ultraboost 5. So keep that in mind when you're deciding which one to buy. If you are primarily going to use the Ultraboost 5 or 5X for running, my suggestion is you go with the 5X. And that's what I have been testing. Well, let's get into some specs. The Adidas Ultraboost 5X has 38 in the heel, 28 in the forefoot for a 10mm drop. Adidas claims that in the US men's size 9, the Ultraboost 5X will tip the scale at 9.7 ounces or 275 grams. However, in my size, a US men's size 13, it tips the scale at 12 ounces even or 340 grams. And my friends, I gotta tell you, that weight is amazing. And you know, it was only last year with the release of the Ultraboost Lite that I said that this was the first Ultraboost that I felt was a solid running shoe. Well, forget everything I said about the Ultraboost Lite, because now with the Ultraboost 5X, there is no need to go to any other previous Ultraboost shoe. Again, if you're going to be using it for running, because the Ultraboost 5X delivers as a legit running shoe. Now remember, 340 grams in my size. Oh, before we get into the weight comparisons, I recognize that $180 is on the upper end of a daily trainer. This is definitely a premium daily trainer. But if we're talking about performance and that 340 gram weight, we've also got to consider the Nike Pegasus 41 that weighs in at 347 grams. That's 7 grams heavier than the Ultraboost 5X. Then of course we've got the Brooks Go 16, which in my size weighs in at 331 grams, which yes is 9 grams less than the Ultraboost 5X. And finally, we've got the On Cloud Monster 2, and this weighs in at 339 grams, which is only 1 gram less than the Ultraboost 5X. So, the Adidas Ultraboost 5X is finally in the ballpark of acceptable weights for running shoes, for daily training running shoes. And it delivers on performance too, but we'll get to the performance part in just a second. Let's talk about some of these materials. Adidas is using an adaptive prime knit upper, and it seems like I say this whenever I run in a shoe that has a knit upper, that I'm really not a fan of knit uppers. But as far as knit uppers go, Adidas has really hit the nail on the head with this. It is comfortable, it conforms to my foot well, and it's fairly breathable. I mean, as far as a knit upper can be breathable. It also doesn't have too much volume for my foot. Now, admittedly, my foot is a little narrow, so I kind of give shoes with a knit upper a pass if I have to cinch down and there starts to get a little bit of buckling in the middle, but I didn't have that with this prime knit upper. The 5X fit my foot like a gem. I mean, maybe these eyelet chains were just a little closer together than whatever the designers intended, but to me it looked okay and it felt even better. Let me hold this up so you can see this heel collar. Now, this is something I really like, because Adidas hasn't overdone it with the heel collar padding. In fact, it's fairly minimal. We've got two little bolsters on each side of the heel, and I didn't realize how small this padding was until I actually took it off and looked at it. But just these two little bolsters, one on the medial, one on the lateral side, they lock my heel in really good. Got a nice heel flare here, and then you're noticing this here on the back, which is the Adidas molded heel support. So rather than have an internal heel counter like a lot of shoes do, Adidas has chosen to go with these two supportive pieces, one on the lateral, one on the medial side, and then we've left the center of the heel with nothing in it. So there's no rigidity in the back. I can push it in and just feel this padding back here. And guys, I gotta say, it works really well. I got a great lockdown in the 5X. Absolutely no complaints about fit. We got the 3-stripe logo on both sides, some reinforcement coming around the toe box, and then of course the eyelet chain. These are heavily reinforced on both sides. And now that I'm actually looking at how heavily reinforced this eyelet chain is, I'm seeing where Adidas can drop a little weight next year. Now, of course, being a one-piece prime knit upper, the tongue is not going to be gusseted only because there is is no tongue really, it's all one piece of knit. So because of that, the Adidas Ultraboost 5X is going to fit like a sock, a very comfortable sock. And this year, I'm really here for it. Okay, so let's come down to the midsole, because like most shoes, this is where the magic happens. And although Boost has been around for a long time, well, actually, I shouldn't say that. Light Boost has only been around 1 year, but still, whatever you call it, it's the same formulation of Boost. Last year, Adidas came out with Light Boost, so they just made it a little lighter, but it's the same TPU beaded compound. But this year, Adidas has figured out how to put more air in between the beads. And by doing that, they have made the most responsive Boost foam ever. And look, I know that sounds a little sensational saying it's the most responsive Boost foam ever. Guys, this is not Light Strike Pro, it's Boost. But this is also a daily trainer and not a race day shoe. And the cushioning and protectiveness that comes from this Boost is more than adequate. In fact, more than adequate, it's good. Feels good underfoot, but we're almost to the ride, so hold on 1 second. Then if I come down to the outsole, we've got a lot of coverage of Continental outsole rubber, so it's going to have superior grip, and the rubber is actually quite thin. Now, I am seeing a little bit of wear on my pair, especially here on the lateral heel. Really nothing up on the forefoot, but I'm seeing a little bit of scuffing here on the lateral heel, but I'm not really worried about it. The Ultraboost 5X is going to last a long time because there's so much rubber here on the bottom. Now, one more improvement over last year's version. You can see here in the middle we have the torsion system. And if I show you the bottom of the Ultraboost Light, last year they were using the LEP system. Basically that LEP system was like 2 forks on each side that kind of came up to the forefoot, and LEP, in case you don't remember, stood for linear energy push. Now back to the Ultraboost 5X, they've included the torsion system, which it's kind of difficult to see on my colorway, but it's kind of shaped like an X. You can see this ring in the center, and then it comes up to like probably about here, the early forefoot, and then the back of it comes up to about there. And that's just going to provide a little support. So when you're running, you're getting that support and structure throughout your gait cycle. The torsion system isn't going to give you any extra push, like it's not a plate, it's just there for support. And to do the old flexibility test, yeah, we got pretty flexible forefoot. Get down to the midfoot, it gets a little more rigid. Obviously, that's where the torsion system is. But as far as toe-off goes, we got a fairly flexible forefoot, and it felt that way on the run. Now look, with a name like Boost, if you haven't already run in an Ultra Boost shoe, you might be thinking, wow, this is going to be like a trampoline. It's going to give me a boost. It's not quite like that. However, I still stand by that this is the best Ultra Boost ever, and I think they have really nailed that Goldilocks zone of their light boost being not too soft and not too firm. So this is certainly not a plush ride, even though it's a plush step-in feel. It's a nice plush knit upper, although now I'm saying that, it's really not overly plush. You know, there are a lot of daily trainers that really overdo it with their upper. But anyway, when you step into the Ultraboost 5X, it feels pretty plush. When you start running, you realize that even though we have 38 in the heel, the midsole foam is still firm enough where you get the illusion of ground feel. And for me, what that translates to is being able to pick up the pace a little bit, and the shoe's still feeling good. Now, I've already said this isn't a race day shoe. Unless this was your only running shoe, I wouldn't take this out for intervals or tempo runs, but I did. In my training, I certainly took this on a couple of workouts, and I forgot about it on my feet, which I think is the highest praise for any kind of shoe. If it feels that good that you forget about it, you're onto a winner. But as I said, this is not a shoe for running fast. This is a shoe for running easy, maybe recovery runs, and that's where the Ultraboost 5X really excels. It's just very comfortable. Now, I know I said it wasn't plush, and I certainly wasn't referring to the other end of the spectrum. It is not too firm. And if you did run in the Light Boost last year, and in any other Ultraboost before that, this new formulation that they're using in the Ultraboost 5X is softer than all previous boosts, at least to me. You can't always take my word for it how a shoe is going to feel underfoot, just because I have different running dynamics. You might not weigh exactly the same as me. You know, there are certain factors that make a shoe feel different for one person over another. But still, for me, the Ultraboost 5X was softer than previous versions. Oh, and before I forget, I'm glad I didn't forget, because this is one of my favorite things about the Ultraboost 5X, is the new shape. And look at it. To me, it's a lot more traditional looking. And that's because sometimes tradition actually works. And you notice this heel area looks kind of normal. Got a nice heel bevel here. Oh, and if we're talking about the heel bevel, see we got a nice toe spring here, but I do just want to pull out the Ultraboost Light one more time and hold it up. Look at that booty on that shoe. Like, the Ultraboost Light has a lot of junk in the trunk, and Adidas has removed it, kind of streamlined it, and they've moved the Boost to everywhere else in the shoe. Everywhere else in the shoe that's going to be a lot more useful. So ultimately, who is the Ultraboost 5X for? Well, look, if you are a sneakerhead, you probably love the whole Ultraboost line, so you're probably going to be picking up this shoe, especially in this colorway because it's totally fire. But I think these updates to the Ultraboost are great, and the fans are really going to appreciate it. If you were just a normal runner considering a running shoe, or let me say considering a premium daily trainer, then the Ultraboost 5X is definitely worth considering, because not only do you get a very sharp looking shoe, this year the 5X actually performs like a really good running shoe. I've enjoyed every single mile that I've put into this shoe. So now I want to hear from you. Have you run in any of the Ultraboosts? And whether you have or you haven't, are you thinking about picking up a pair of the Ultraboost 5X? Drop a comment and let me know. Alright, it's Matt B. This has been my review of the Adidas Ultraboost 5X. Be kind, be happy, run well. I'll see you in a couple of days.